So today we'll be talking about the Latin American Revolution and the French Revolution, which we compare to relationships.
So the first stage of a relationship is usually what they call the honeymoon period, where everything is lovey-dovey and all nice and everything. So that would be similar to a government or empire in the honeymoon period, where everything's stable, the people are happy, the power is in good control, and everything's just easy going.
All right. Stage two is the realization of faults in the relationship. It's where one partner finds like things they don't like in the other part, and that's similar to people finding faults and not being content with their government and stuff of that sort. Should I say?
In stage 3 of growing tension, in this part of the relationship, this is where the couple is starting to voice their opinions and they're starting to get more annoyed with each other, but they're not actually fighting yet. And this is similar to an empire because citizens will start to get angry at the government, but they're not actually fighting it.
So basically, this part of the relationship is where the couple starts fighting a lot, and they're always arguing, and they're just a couple that no one wants to be around. And this is the same with relationships, and that the people are the same in revolutions, and that the people start getting upset, and they're protesting, and they're voicing their opinions on the government and the power and what they don't like.
So in a relationship, when it gets to the point of the breakup, there's been so much fighting and so much tension building up until then, and then finally something's done about it, and finally, after both sides fighting back and forth, something comes from it, like they either move on or whatever. So how that ties into revolutions, the fighting and the uproars have happened, and the outcomes of it can either be like a new source of power, a change in government, a change in equalities among the people, and so, yeah.
All right, stage one of the honeymoon for the French Revolution. Everyone was content with the government and the economy was stable, and people were happy.
So in stage 2, in the French Revolution, the wealthy classes stopped paying their taxes, like they didn't do it enough, but the poor still were expected to pay their taxes even though they couldn't afford it, on top of basic living necessities. So they were starting to get angry because it was unfair that the upper classes were being treated better just because they were richer.
In the French Revolution, the stage is growing tensions. So basically, all the people are becoming really upset, and they're annoyed with the government. And also, this is when they went bankrupt under King Louis XVI, and because all of the rich weren't paying their taxes, and that's where most of the money was. And so all of the poor people couldn't afford food, and but King Louis XVI was just fat and happy and kept eating all his food and wasn't worrying about anybody else. So basically, the peasants were getting really upset, and the lower class was starving, and so it was causing a lot of issues.
An example how the French Revolution fits into stage 4 of fighting in a relationship is the Women's March. Basically, there was a rumor that there was grain kept in the king's house, and with the problem of having like barely any food throughout the country, where the thought of the grain being kept away from all the people made the people angry. So they had basically like a protest almost outside the king's house, demanding for that grain and food. Another example is the National Assembly formed, and that was when the majority of the people, like peasants, formed their own assembly to revolt against King Louis because they weren't happy with how he was governing everything, and they planned to abolish the regime.
So in this stage, things are kind of slowly healing and getting back to normal. The death of King Louis XVI kind of marked this breakup stage, and Napoleon took over, and there was a Declaration of the Rights of Man and the Citizen. So basically, all the men got their rights to property and equal rights and everything like that.
So now we're going to talk about the Latin American Revolution. And the revolutions always start off in the honeymoon phase where everything's all good and the church had most of the controls and kept it organized, and the caste system had most of the cultural control in Latin America.
So in stage 2, realization of faults, for Latin America, this means the Creoles are starting to think they're better than everyone else, and they're more elite than everyone else, so that's causing some tension between the different culture groups, and things are starting to get a little shaky.
So in this phase for the relationships, that's when tensions are growing and they're starting to like hold grudges against each other and aren't really liking each other. So basically in the Latin American Revolution, this was when people realized that there was too much control in the hands of the church. They had to pay the royal fifth, which is like 1/5 of everything they made, went to the church, and the church basically controlled how they lived their lives and everything.
So in stage 4 is the fights, and how it relates to Latin America is there were peasant uprisings, like the mestizos wanted more power than the Creoles, but the Creoles wanted to be in power as well, and they were, and they wouldn't let that happen, the mestizos taking over.
So in stage 5, the breakup and recovery, Latin America was unified, and the Creoles gave them a fake sense of nationalism because they told them that they were all born there, so they should fight together. But instead, they were pretty much fighting their brothers since they were all like had roots from Spain. Some people don't classify this as a revolution. I mean, nationalism did unify them, but nothing much really changed. The Creoles still had a lot of power, and the church played a great role in everyone's lives still. So.